Hi, everybody. Welcome to CONSERVATISH, Ep.68. My name is Peter Feliciano. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/conservatish. You can follow me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano, Feliciano. Find me on Facebook and all that nonsense. And welcome, you guys. Today's episode is just going to be me smoking cigarettes and talking shit in my car for a little while. You're welcome. So I don't know. It's been an interesting few weeks. I've been planning on moving to New York in September. I have had a few people reach out to me because they've heard on the podcast that I'm moving. I've not announced it on Instagram or Facebook yet. But all of you motherfuckers should be listening to the goddamn podcast anyway, so, whatever. But, yes, it is true. It's gotten interesting for a couple of reasons. One of them being, I'm wondering how real I should be on the podcast. One of them being that there are certain relationships sexually that I've wanted to pursue and have, but I can't really do it because I'm moving and I don't want to be in the position where it hurts worse, or doing the whole thing where, like I remember one time I was dating somebody who moved for 6 months, and we did long distance, and it was one of those things where you can't say goodbye at the airport. I don't want you can't say goodbye at the airport moment. It was like 20 minutes of okay, last kiss and crying and all that shit. I don't want that. There are aspects to that I like. There is the connection and things like that, but I just don't want that. And on a grander scale, it's a weird thing to be like, well, I want the intimacy and I certainly want the sex, but I also don't want I don't want the drama that comes along with it. And not drama like they're bad or I'm bad or anything like that. It's just the natural drama of getting to know somebody and having to say goodbye. And so it's been like, I had to kind of stop seeing somebody and then running around kind of rocky with another person and that kind of ending. And I don't know. It's been interesting. I also was in the position, God, this is a very personal. I thought I was going to talk about the N-word, but I also have been in the position where am I fucking liar? I've also been in the position where I have realized that I haven't been very forgiving of myself around a lot of weird little kind of the way I live, honestly. The way I live has been, like, as an example, sorry, all the atheists that I'm going to talk about it, but like with my prayers, it's often in the frame of, what do you fucking want from me, God? What do you want from me, God? And I had a thought the other day. It was like, why is my prayer like, what do you want from me? Like, first things first, God is an omnipotent being. If there is a God, God is an omnipotent being. He doesn't need a fucking thing from me, number one. And number two, that adds this weird little thick layer of suffering. That life is a veil of tears. That life is like, I'm suffering for whatever God wants. This is fucking horseshit, man. God doesn't need anything from me, maybe for me. But I had to take a look at that word, and I had to start realizing, like, this isn't a suffering type of thing. I don't need to. This is not this isn't the type of thing where I need to, like, I don't know, man. Like, what if there is a God and he or she or it wanted things for me? Like, if I was actually happy, joyous, and free, like, if I was actually supposed to have the life that I wanted, what would it look like? How would I act? And that's an interesting thought because I guess even though I've been moving towards that, I still have this belief, this fundamental belief that I'm a piece of shit, And I had to start kind of taking a look at that and realizing that it's probably not true. I sent Jefferson Berge, my friend. We're gonna do another episode soon. I really like that fucking dude, and I sent him tracks. 8 out of the 9 songs from my album are done, are finished. Editing and mixing and everything might master. If you have opinions on whether or not I should master, I'm open to suggestions. Anyway, I might get into that. But I sent him some of the tracks to listen to it, and I've gotten some feedback, and he was, really kind of over the moon about it, and I'm really excited about it. It was one of those things where I started getting reviews from him, and he's like, oh, fucking, it's so good, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, let me listen to these. Let me see how these actually, what do I think about them? And I liked them. And it was one of those things where, like, I'm listening to him, and I was, like, getting really fucking excited about it, and starting to realize, like, I kind of feel like an actual artist. Like, I kind of feel like this, if done properly, could be fucking, like, big, and I mean, that's what I want, but for some reason it's like, it adds into this mix this whole idea of, kind of fear, The last song in the album that I hadn't finished, this is a funny little example of who the fuck I am. So, the 9th song, I hadn't written lyrics to. And we had put down guitar, we had put down drums, we had put down a little bit of bass, and we had this kind of on the back burner for like 7 months. And we worked on the other 8 songs just over and over, and editing and mixing and adding things. And all the rest of the songs are like 90% done. And then the rest, that one track is like fucking 10% done for like almost a year, And I knew all the way at the beginning that I wanted it to be about fear. And I'd written this song, I'd written temporary lyrics, and I was okay with it, but I wasn't great with it, and so I just wanted to focus on the other 8 songs. So I was focusing on the other 8 songs, and I'm like getting to get done, but I just that one last song is kind of gnawing at me, and I still hadn't written lyrics. I lost the original lyrics, and I just had to write it again. But through fear, I was just not getting it done for a fucking year. That one song that's about fear, I was too afraid to write lyrics to. That's fucking perfect. Fucking perfect. And so I finally, I had an editing studio day scheduled with Gowan Matthews. Shout out to Gowan Matthews. If you want a producer, I fucking swear to God, dude. I want that motherfucker. I'm going to hire him to just follow me around when I'm famous and rich. He's fucking incredible, man. He plays guitar, he plays bass, he plays a little organ, and he doesn't give a shit. He's like a excited little Mr. Bean, dude. He's the shit. I really love that motherfucker. And so I finally I was like, okay, I've got an editing day scheduled, and the night before I'm like thinking about, okay, I gotta write lyrics, and so I texted him, hey, for tomorrow I have lyrics ready. I did not have lyrics ready. And put myself in a position where now I actually had to get off my ass and do it. And so for like 3-4 hours, I'm just lying in bed, writing lyrics, erasing, moving this around, blah, 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 getting it all together. And got to the point where finally, like, even the next morning, that morning on the way to the studio, I'm like, nah, tweak. And got it to where I wanted it to be. But it's just funny how I let fear kind of run my life. It's fucking unnecessary, I don't know, it kind of makes me think about that whole idea that this is the only life I have, like that if this is the only life I have, how would I act if this was the only life I have? How would I act if I wanted, if the universe, if I actually wanted? One of the things I do sometimes is like write down and pray or whatever about what I want for a sexual life, you know what I mean? And instead of going for, fucking who will fuck me or the best that I can get or whatever, who would I actually want to be in a relationship with? Who would I actually want to, and be kind of a little more discerning, a little more, I don't know, it's interesting shit. was a very personal episode. This would be like the episode where, like, you know, Golden Girl's very special episode about, like, rape or something. I don't know. Of course, I would have to fit the word rape in. I want to talk about fucking dumb Kendrick Lamar. That motherfucker gets a lot more credit than he deserves. He pulled that chick up on. I was listening to Jim and Sam this morning, and they were talking about Kendrick Lamar pulling that white girl up on stage and having her, you know, kind of doing a special thing that some artists do. Or she's gonna sing along the lyrics to my song, you know, and the song he chose, like the chorus is like, "What nigga, yeah nigga," like, and he whoa, he stops the song so that he can teach this white girl a lesson. This frumpy fucking chick teach this white girl a lesson about what words are okay to say and what words are not okay to say. And it just fucking annoyed me, man. It just fucking annoyed me. And like all podcasts and like all radio shows that I listen to, I wanted to fucking yell sometimes and chime in, as some of you feel about listening to me. But yeah, I had that same thing where I know that he pulled her up on stage. Like, he could have asked her to sing any song. He could have asked her to chime in with any, like, fucking King Kunta or something like that, where he says the N-word, but not as often. But he pulled her up on stage purposefully to fucking put this chick in a pickle. You know what I mean? And it's just it's creepy, you know. And yeah, and it makes me feel annoyed that, like, I don't think black people are weak. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think black people who are adult will see a word in the right context as something that can be so emotionally scarring that they have to stop other people from saying the word. You know what I mean? Like, I understand in the wrong context, if you're yelling at a black lady, you know what I mean? Like, an old black lady, you're calling her a nigger on the bus. Like, I that's a difference than in a joke or in a conversation or in a song or a chick who's saying your fucking lyrics. It just felt fucking phony. You know, just I don't know. I'm sure I think he's fine or whatever, but I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I want to have somebody on the show who can like disagree with me with this, so we can talk about it. It's hard to get people on my show who disagree with me, or at least who are willing, like, who I know enough, who will be able to fight about it or something. Like, not most people agree with me, although, but it just seems like people are afraid, or people are insecure. Like, there's no one better, as an example, Jim Norton. There's no one fucking better than Jim Norton at being solid in where he lives. Like, in being solid in a conversation or a disagreement or an argument. That motherfucker cannot be bought. He cannot be pressured into being put into a box or a label. Like, he seems to be solid where he's at in that situation. Because I was agreeing with him on that conversation, and I kept wanting to make it personal. You know, I kept, like, wanting to get emotional, and he's just like, no, here's what, you know, when he seems to be put in a box, he's just like, no. He sidesteps it, and not like in a weird way, but he's solid in where he's at. I look forward to being that type of guy, because too often it's so easy to just get emotional and be like, well, fuck you, motherfucker. Like, who the fuck are you, you know, to tell me? But I just, am I making sense? I think I'm making sense. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you take, like, we're all people who can take things personally, who can make it about ourselves, who can get emotional around a topic, who can, all that stuff. No one's above that shit. But if you genuinely can't see context first, I don't think it's our job as the public to kowtow and change our behavior to fix your feelings. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference if I'm actually trying to be hurtful and screaming nigger at some old black lady on a bus, but if I'm just being if I'm just trying to make a joke or being hyperbolic or whatever, like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to say any word that I want. You know what I mean? As an example, some people say, oh, no, that's the taboo word. That's the taboo word because of the history. Because of the history. Like, gay people have been beaten in the streets. They've been hung. They've been fired. They've been thrown off of rooftops, and all under the wording being screamed faggot, faggot, faggot on their deathbed in the streets, right? With people, with cops not even giving a fuck about finding the actual killer. Like, there's a fucking history there. So should we add that to the list? Should we add tranny to the list? I want an actual list. If you actually want to stop free speech, I want an actual list of all the things. Don't tell me, well, no, that's different, because everybody from every walk of life can say that's different. Fat, as an example. Now, I'm not comparing necessarily, but here's my personal experience. Being a fat kid my whole life, okay, I've had times where I'm skinnier now, but being a fat kid my entire life, I have wanted to kill myself over being fat. I've had fantasies about just cutting off fat from my body, but just wishing that I wasn't this way, because I get the looks and I don't get the sexual partners that I wanted, or I don't get the friends that I wanted, or I don't feel like I can sing, or I don't feel like I can run. I'm not athletic. I'm not attractive. I'm constantly self-talk, and people making fun of me, people ostracizing me. Okay, that's a word, fat or chubby or whatever the fuck you want to call it, that has made me feel the worst things in my life. But I don't want to stop other people from saying that word. In fact, I even don't want to stop other motherfuckers, even though I've wanted to kill myself over it. I don't want to stop other people from saying it, especially in a fucking joke. From people screaming at me. I can understand the context. I can step back from my emotions and understand, okay, this is what this means to this person at this time. Okay? I can understand that this, I don't want to stop other people from saying jokes. I don't want to stop other people from saying words. Oh, but it's different because black people. Have you actually talked to black people? Let me rephrase that. Do you have any fucking black friends? You cocksuckers. Are you fucking white people getting offended for other motherfuckers? Stop. Black people can stand up for themselves. They don't need you. It's arrogance. The idea that, well, there's no words that can hurt white people, but there are words that can hurt fragile black people. Black people are not fragile, okay? Black people are not weak. They have to play by the same rules that all of us do. Yeah, equality. They have to play by the same rules that all of us do, okay? That if a word hurts your feelings, the other person may be trying to hurt your feelings. They may not. They may be They may be a piece of shit. They may not be a piece of shit. But you don't get to hurt someone or beat someone or fight someone or stop their fucking language or ban the fucking word because it affects you. Now, if someone is verbally assaulting, then that's verbal assault, and that's illegal. Well, I think it's illegal. Maybe it's not. But if someone's assaulting you or hurting you with there's different reactions that are appropriate. You know what I mean? If someone actually is trying to hurt your feelings, then they're a piece of shit. Or they're trying to hurt your feelings and you're trying to hurt their feelings. I've talked about this on the show, but like if two people are in a traffic altercation and they start yelling at each other, and one guy calls the other guy a faggot and the other guy calls the other guy a nigger, they're both trying to hurt each other's feelings. They're both being assholes, but they're not necessarily bad people. You know what I mean? They're trying to hurt the other person's feelings. If the person is actually racist, if he actually is homophobic, then okay, that's a whole nother game. That's a whole nother label. But if you're just going to say, well, fuck this guy, he's a racist because he uses a word, it's just emotionally childish. You know better. And I think white people, you know better. Even in the right context, I love saying nigger, but in the right context, if I'm with a black guy, I'm not gonna call him, like, I might, but like I try to approach this whole situation like knowing, okay, I try to be in the moment with it. You know what I mean? And sometimes I dip my toe in to see, okay, let me see if I'm going to get in an argument right now. You know what I mean? But in general, I trust that if someone has an emotional reaction, that's not my business. That's not my I'm not accountable for that. I'm not responsible for that. If I'm trying to elicit an emotional reaction, then I'm partially accountable for that. But ultimately, it's not someone saying a word and me attaching feelings to that is my thing. Okay? It's not other people's thing. It's not other people's responsibility. It's mine. You know? And I don't think just because you have black skin, you're weak or you're fragile. This is 6 shots of espresso so far today. Yeah, man, New York is fucking. Oof, it's looking more and more real. This album is looking more and more real, and it's quite terrifying. I feel like every time I have one of these episodes by myself, I talk about New York and I talk about the N-word. We have some good guests coming up, though. We got Kyle Caprista, who's he's actually the guy who played drums on the album. Really fucking stellar, fucking incredible musician, and a really good dude. Very liberal guy. I was surprised he wanted to come on the show, but he reached out to me, and he's going to come on the show. He's listened to a bunch of stuff. I think he understands kind of where I'm coming from, that I'm not not really any one way or another. I do have one musician, maybe one and a half, who do genuinely disagree with me on some things, who want to come on and talk to me about it. But it is hard to wrangle people sometimes. It's hard to get them on the show so we can really hash things out. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's because people are like emotionally weak or anything. I think it's just like you have to kind of. I mean, it's especially if they think it's gonna be a fight or if they think it's gonna be an argument. Of course, it would be annoying to be on show with somebody who like, fine, I have to like set up apart from my day to be on this show and possibly look foolish or possibly get into an argument or possibly, you know, I mean, that, of course that would be annoying to look forward to. I don't fault anybody for that. I guess I would fault, I guess, people for fault. Maybe I would feel weird about people putting me in a box around those things or unfollowing me, or I don't know. Maybe that's the right thing to do if they just genuinely disagree with me. I don't know. It's heavy. I knew that I was gonna fucking. I'm such an ass when it comes to like wanting to be a contrarian to some things or rebellious or whatever. Like I know that you guys put up with some shit with me, and I love you for it, and I really do. But I knew that I was getting into starting this podcast, and I knew that I knew what I was doing. But I don't know. I kind of felt like this is, some episodes are different, some conversations are different, but this is as true to myself as, really anything else. You know what I mean? Like I feel more like myself because of starting this podcast than I have before starting this podcast. I didn't just want a place where I could say faggot and nigger, you know what I mean? Like I did want a place, I did want a place where I could outwardly talk about things, and because I'm a fucking loudmouth, and I also wanted a place where I could talk about being slightly conservative or pretty conservative on some things, and not feel like a piece of shit for it. I don't know, man. I think I have a market. I mean, you guys seem to be liking this, and it seems to be growing, which is really cool. But again, it is that same practice of being solid in my own shit and not worrying about, like, not living my life by what other people think. Even when it comes to this fucking album, like, I've had definite points where I've listened to the songs and thought, like, oh, this is really exciting, blah, blah, blah. But hearing Jefferson's reviews, this is how dependent upon other people's emotions and what they think of me I am. This is how gross I am. Even listening to him review it made me more excited. It was like, oh, it validated who I am as an artist. Like, that shouldn't be, man. I should be more solid in myself. I think it's human to second guess or third guess or 58th guess myself. But you know, I don't know. I'm pretty nuts, you know, and I think that this album is not even. I really don't even get political on the album. You know, I like have the Me song, which is, it dips into it, but it doesn't. I mean, most of the stuff is like telling stories from different people's experiences. You know, most of it is actually pretty. It's kind of pretty. Like, the songs are actually kind of pretty, and even when they are pretty, like even the last song, the one about fear, it's called My Old Man. Even that song, the chords are very pretty, and the melody's very pretty, and the lyrics are actually very dark and very haunting, in you know, from what I've been told. But the music's very pretty, you know what I mean? But I don't make it super political. I thought about it. I thought about, when I was thinking, you know, before I had started this podcast, I wanted an outlet to, like, say, you know, quote some Camille Paglia and maybe some Jordan, and put on clips of different things, and maybe I'll do that in the next album. I don't know, but this feels pretty right. But it actually feels like it almost feels like a fucking, not Melissa Etheridge album, but it just me and her do look very similar. But I you know, it almost feels like a legit ass album. It feels like a not a pop song or a pop album. There's a bunch of different weird dark shit on it. There's a fucking flamenco song. Like, it's unique, but it feels like, in listening to this, I think part of it is because Gowan is just a fucking great producer. But it feels like, oh, like this is almost feels like there's pieces of it that are me, but that are people wouldn't necessarily recognize. You know what I mean? There are pieces of the album that are like, wait, this is the same guy who's saying faggot and nigger on a podcast? Like, this is the same dude who's making race jokes? Like, this is the same, you know what I mean? Like, I think I is it that I accentuate my white side? I don't know what the fuck it is. But it's an interesting piece of work, man. It's an interesting fucking album. And do other people feel this? Like, I've talked a lot recently. Here's this might be a little self-centered, I think. But do other people feel this? Like, when I'm talking to people about moving to New York and really going for the album and really going for the podcast and really, like, doing this stuff, which in my opinion I should have started a long time ago. You know, 32 seems a little goddamn old for my first album, but that's okay, whatever. Actually, I think when it comes out, I'll be 33. Good God. But people seem to be, like, doing what they want to do, and it's interesting to talk to people who genuinely want to write, you know, code for a living. Like, you know, like they feel, or you know, I talk about him all the time, but, like, I have a friend who's into accounting, and he's into it. Like, he fucking adores counting other people's money. He just fucking loves it. Doing taxes, yay. And it's interesting to me that people are not. It's interesting to be that people don't want to be musicians and podcasters. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I certainly don't want to be a server anymore. I know I'm going to have to be. I think I'm actually going to I have a line on maybe as soon as I get out to New York. I think there's an 80s band that is open to having a singer. That would be a good influx of money. And I've done that before, and I know I can do that. I know I can do it well, and I do enjoy money. So I'll probably start doing that. But I think I will have to be a server as well over there. Again, by the way, again, worst tips come from Latin people. I don't know what the fuck it is. I've been talking about this on like every fucking episode. The last few episodes was like the fucking it was the fucking Mexican mob on my goddamn show. It's been Mexican week. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what. And it is a culture thing. I understand it's not a race thing. It's just how you were raised and how you were brought up and why you blah, blah, blah. There was a Latin broad who was with a black guy yesterday who tipped me very well. So of course there's exceptions. But like if I see a white older couple, I know they're going to tip me a minimum of 18%. Like I just know it. You know what I mean? I don't know why. It's just a thing, you know? But I don't know why we can't say that outwardly. You know what I mean? Like why can't I talk about my experience openly? Why is it like I have to, you know, even with the there was a fucking intern on the show on Jim and Sam this morning who was like, white kid. He's a kid, it's not his fault or whatever. But like, you can't just talk about your experience openly. Like you have to say, well, from other people's experience, from black people's experience, I know this word carries a lot of weight. Like you can't just take responsibility for your own. Like, this kid grew up in a fucking suburb he has no black friends. He's just whatever the society is dictating, he has to believe. I want to be a Pierce to that. I want to pop the fucking balloon all the goddamn time. I know I take it too far sometimes, but like, I just don't want to ever, like, why can't we say everything we want to say? Like, why? Because it affects other people. So I'm not responsible. Like if someone calls me a faggot, to my face and I punch that guy, I'm responsible. Don't hit people for their words. We learned that in kindergarten. It's not okay to hit people. You know what I mean? But apparently like if you're black, then it's okay. The rules are different because you have brown skin. Fuck you. The rules are not different. I can't tell the government or the cops or society at large, everyone get on this motherfucker and make him get fired. Everyone get on this motherfucker and make his public life hell. That poor fucking Betty, barbecue Betty or whatever. Poor bitch. Man, that's sad, man. She was just being a cunt. She wasn't being racist. She was just being an old lady cunt, that's all. Old lady cunt happens all the time. You never had old black lady cunt? I had a black lady yesterday with her daughter come into the restaurant. I knew I was already super busy with a bunch of other shit, and so I wasn't gonna be bothered. They only got, I think like $90 or $60 worth of food and drinks. So I knew it wasn't gonna be like great tip, but I knew it wasn't gonna be, no, it was $54. It was $54 tab, and she tipped me $4. Black ladies can be cunts. Everybody can be a cunt. Everybody can be an asshole. Everybody can be a sensitive little bitch. Human comes in all shapes and colors and sizes. But because you have black skin, the rules are different. Fuck you. That's white arrogance is what that is. That's white arrogance that, we're up here. We have to live by these rules. Black people, he had a bad childhood. It doesn't matter if you had a bad fucking childhood. Don't rob. His social standing. Fuck you. I saw Kevin Hart on Joe Rogan. That motherfucker came from some hard shit in Philadelphia. Did he do stupid shit when he was a kid? Absolutely. But now he's rich. He's the most well-known comedian in the fucking world. Like, he came out of the box. Why can't you come out of the fucking box? Ooh, you don't understand. Fuck you, I don't understand. Fuck you. Do you know what I'm doing right now? I'm not comparing all the way, but I am saying, listen to my fucking words. Why do I say support this podcast at patreon.com/conservatish? Because I am a broke motherfucker. Am I sitting pretty as a musician, as a working musician and as a working podcaster that I'm sitting pretty financially? Fuck you. I am sacrificing lots of time and lots of effort and lots of energy and lots of money to do this shit because I want to be somewhere else. So I'm putting in the time. I am cutting my teeth. I am sucking it up to do what I want to do. I have a goal in mind, and I'm okay. I'll be fucking all right. I won't have the relationship I want because hey, listen, I gotta move. And why do I gotta move? Because I have goals. You know, okay, fine. I'll be financially a little fucked up right now for a little while because I have goals. I want to be somewhere else. I want to be somewhere else career-wise. So I have goals. So I'm putting in the time and the effort. You can do it too. Just because you have brown skin, we all have to go, well, it's okay for him to lie or to rob or to manipulate the system or to because brown. Fuck you. When are we going to fucking grow up, man? We do have to grow up. All of us. Not just if you're white. You know, not just if you, in fact, it's harder, I think, probably, to grow up if you're rich. If you're a rich kid and you have shit together, it's probably harder to be an adult. You know, no one talks about that. Everyone talks about how hard it is to be poor. And I'm not saying it's not incredibly hard to be poor and probably more hard to be poor than it is to be a rich kid. But rich kids also have their own versions of struggle, like being a cunt for the rest of your life. That's a hard life. To have it all together and not know what actual struggle looks like, to have it all together and like to have money, to have everything you want and still be miserable, that's a struggle. It's its own version of shit. No one talks about the poor fucking rich kids who grow up without a personality. That's a hard life. You know, to be very pretty and can't fuck well, God, that's a fucking, oh man, the poor baby. Right? But I mean, like I've said many times, I wish I could take the maturity of a 46-year-old and put it in the body of a 20-year-old, but I can't. You know, I can't take the struggle, the maturity that comes with struggling for a long time out of a poor kid and put it in the opportunity of a rich kid. It takes effort and time and motivation and moving forward. All of us require that. All of us require that. Whether you're an atheist, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a fucking black kid or a white kid or a gay kid or a straight kid, it doesn't. The rules apply to all of us. You know? And if you don't know that for sure, and you think Pete's just a racist piece of shit, get to know some black people, please. Please. Please get to know some black people. I think I'm going to wrap up. Maybe I'll have one more cigarette. See how nice I am to you? See how kind and considerate? So my hashtags started working again on Instagram. Yay. They had stopped for a little while when I had Jared Flores on, who was a former Proud Boy. I had hashtagged Proud Boy because, sorry, this is part of the struggle. That I have to be an annoying, hashtagging, promoting piece of shit. Tough. So I hashtagged that, and then immediately my hashtag stopped working. Hashtag is where older people, I'll explain. Hashtagging is where you, when someone is surfing through hashtags of different topics, they'll get attention to your post or your whatever, right? So I hashtagged. And then my shit stopped working for it's been 3 weeks. So, you know, it's not shadow banning, but, you know, I understand, I get it, but I don't really get it. It's annoying. It's annoying that because of a certain word or a certain definition that has been attached to those boys, then now that's a hate group. They're not a fucking hate group. Would you calm the fuck down? Do you know any of them? God damn it. I'm not saying you need to know any of them, but look at the videos. Yeah, are they a little fighty? Are they a little fratty? Sure. Does it dip into douchey? Sure, absolutely. But they weren't the ones in Charlottesville with fucking lamps. I don't know. I feel like free speech should be free speech. Just let me fucking talk. Let people talk. Let people fucking talk. God damn it, it makes me so annoyed what's happening right now. You know? And the only people who seem to be able to rise above it are people who have already been grandfathered in before all the fucking crazy before all the crazy shadow banning started happening. Like, people are gaining more traction, but fucking, I have literally been doing this podcast since August. And just now had someone like a week ago sent me a message. Hey, thanks for sharing the link. I wasn't sure where to listen to it. You weren't sure where to... What? What? I feel like Little John. What? You weren't able to fucking know where... I share that shit fucking constantly. I am annoying with my fucking posts. I'm aware of that. But Daddy's got to fucking get attention somehow. I got to play the fucking game, and I'm playing the fucking game. Do I put money on promotions for shit? Absolutely. Again, that goddamn Skrilla. That goddamn cash. So I'm doing what I need to goddamn do. Would you let me fucking talk? God damn it, I'm not a piece of shit. I'm not a racist. I just like saying nigger from time to time. That's not a big fucking deal. Relax. Under the context of jokes and under the context of a conversation, I'm not going to stop saying what the fuck I want to say. God damn it. That shouldn't be an earth-shattering thing. Especially if you know me, you fucking cocksucker. God damn it. Sorry. I'm not sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I wonder what this one's going to be called. I've talked about very personal things and fear, sex, intimacy, and the N-word. I'm really grateful to all of you guys who are listening a lot. I'm really grateful. I really am. I know I talk a lot of shit and I kvetch and complain, but I just have to say, I really am fucking appreciative that I get to do this, that I get to make money, that I get to drive up in a couple of weeks to Napa to make a ton of fucking money for singing songs, that I get to, it's expensive, but I get to record this album and have it sound the way it sounds and have you guys appreciate it and give it to you, because it really is for you. I mean, as much as let me say what I want to say, as much as it is, I really feel like my genuine goal for this whole fucking thing, for both podcasting and for music and all that stuff, is just, hey, stop disconnecting everybody. Stop it. I'm like very much like Gandhi in that way. I really am like the half Puerto Rican Martin Luther King, and I just feel like everything is not that big a deal, and this is our only life, like Bill Hicks said, poor Bill, it's just a ride. It's just a ride. Relax. And when you're on a fucking roller coaster, there are points where it looks really scary and it looks like really real, like you're gonna die or you're gonna get hurt, but everything's okay. Everything's all right. This is just temporary. Yesterday's doom went away, and today's is gonna go go away as well. Even if it feels really real right now, just relax. Most of us are kind of okay. Everything's kind of all right. You see this light too? Hope you guys are enjoying the YouTube. I've had someone tell me that they really like listening on YouTube and they like seeing my beautiful face. But you see this light here? It's like God is like shining on. It's like God is shining on the N-word. Anyway, you can support this podcast at patreon.com/conservatish. Find me on Instagram. Share this fucking podcast with your friends. Please, you cocksucker. Share this with your friends, with your family. Let's all get in the boat. It's all right. Relax. And I will be playing every Friday, so only 2 more, every Friday in April at Grape in the Fog in Pacifica, 6:30 to 9:30 on Fridays, so the next 2 Fridays. And then I also will be playing Saturday the 27th of April down in Palo Alto at, Vino Locale, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I've also got a show coming up at, I think it's the Punchline in San Francisco, as a part of a big variety show in May. So I'll keep you posted for that. And if you want to listen to certain songs or have little snippets or have little things that you don't get to access from my posts on various social media, join my fucking Patreon. That's the way to get it. And I love you all very much. Bye.